Now, we want to talk about this theatre in London that has banned a comedian from performing there after Jewish audience members were made to feel unsafe and threatened at the show.
Paul Currie, he's the alleged comedian, is accused of encouraging the crowd to chant and shout. An Israeli ticket holder, how do you pronounce your name?
Liahav Eitan.
Liahav Eitan, he's in the studio, as I'm delighted to say, after he refused to stand and applaud the Palestinian flag. And in the last few moments, there's been reports that Currie's next show could be cancelled altogether. Soho Theatre have released a statement saying that such appalling actions are unacceptable and have no place on our stages now or ever. We will not be inviting Paul Currie back to perform at our venue. Intimidation of audience members, acts of anti-Semitism or any forms of racism will not be tolerated at Soho Theatre. So we're continuing our investigation, discussing the incident with that evening's audience and consulting, interestingly, with the police. Well, Liahav Eitan is here with us now. Liahav, you're having a nice evening at the Soho Theatre. I've been to that theatre many times myself, presumably fairly amusing. So what happened? The Palestinian flag was produced?
Yeah, it was a show, a non-verbal show, comic show. And kind of out of nowhere, the comedian produced a Ukraine flag followed by a Palestine flag and then immediately puts them back in the box and moves on to the next bit. We didn't react to it. So I was there with a friend. We didn't react at all to the flag, even though I didn't really appreciate the comparison between Palestine and Ukraine. I don't think that's a fair comparison to make. But we stayed silent until the end. And then the show comes to an end. Paul Currie thanks the audience. That's the first time that he actually speaks. He kind of orchestrates some standing ovation, tells the crowd to stand up. And my friend and I just kept to our seats. We just stayed silent, stayed in our seats.
And why in that moment, what was going through your mind that made you think, nah, I am not getting up here?
It's exactly as I said, you know, in the last 5 minutes of his show since he produced those two flags. Like, I was taken immediately out of the show. Like, in my head, I was...
You felt excluded?
Yeah, excluded, and just in my mind, I was just like thinking about how unfair this comparison is. I just really didn't agree with that statement, and I thought that you know, I didn't heckle or boo or anything like that. I just didn't want to applaud and stand by that statement.
And then he challenged you for not standing up. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So he thanked the audience, and then still on stage and to the mic, he turned to me and my friend and said, "And thanks to these two for not standing up and clapping." And then he lingered on us. As if waiting for me to apologize for not clapping for him or to just stand up, you know. And when he kept lingering on us, I said, well, thanks for that Palestine flag. He seemed very confused by that. He muttered things like, this is part of the show. Asked me if I was being sarcastic. He asked me if I enjoyed the show, still on stage, still in front of the entire audience.
And you're sitting where? Are you at the front?
No, it was a bit of a weird seat. So I was kind of like next to the stage, like really in the corner, almost behind the stage.
Right.
So really had to like turn completely towards us to have this conversation when most of the crowd was here.
Yeah. But you know that everybody's eyes are on you, which must have been a very uncomfortable feeling, was it not? Well,
it got more uncomfortable very quickly because the moment I said that I enjoyed this show up until that Palestine flag, he completely turned on me. He started shouting that he's from Belfast and knows everything about ceasefires. And then he started cursing. I'm not going to repeat that here and there.
Offensive language.
Very offensive language, and shouted at us to get the F out of his show. And because of where we were sitting, the only way out was through the stage. So we had to pass right in front of him. So me and my friend, we gathered our things. We got on the stage towards the exit. Meanwhile, he produced again his Palestine flag and waved it against us.
So trying to provoke you?
Yeah. And he shouted some more curses at us and started chanting, "Ceasefire now, free Palestine," trying to incite the entire audience, while people in the audience started joining in on the chanting. Somebody from the first row shouted at us, "Shame, shame." People were booing us.
Did anybody step in to defend you?
No, not a single person. What I did see from the stage, I could see two other couples running to the exits. And I immediately knew that they were the other Jewish members of the audience.
Isn't that terrible? Have you ever experienced that level of hostility before?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yeah, living in London in the past four months has been all about that.
And it's escalated because of what's happening in Gaza?
Yeah, it's especially these past 4 months. A lot of the communities that we are part of just completely shunned us, just for being Israelis, for not apologizing for being Israelis, for not standing for a cause that we don't believe in.
That is so tough for you.
And they don't reflect that Hamas triggered the worst bloodshed in Israel since, well, in 50 years.
Absolutely not. A lot of them are blaming Israel for it. Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around.
Yeah.
Liav, there are suggestions now that Paul Currie's tour is getting completely cancelled. Do you think that is the right course of action here?
Listen, I have no personal vendetta against Paul Currie, but I really don't think theatres can expect to keep their audience safe when booking this person.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking.
And I'm sorry you're getting all this abuse. I really am. It's unacceptable.
Thank you.
It really is.